weekend. This is another reason why I want to do this, to kind of practice it, make sure it's all working for tomorrow. Last year, there was always a little delay between going on. Okay, let's see if this works.
That's right. They have a delay in Eurovision, it makes it so.
Well, exactly, yeah. Well, I can see us all on the. There you go. Yeah. So there's always that little bit going on in the background, so I had to make sure I mute that. So now we're all on live, and it's going streaming live on YouTube now. So that's fantastic. So we can all go home. We're done. We've tested it. So yeah, this is the official launch of the 2021 AF Beer Festival. After a really great year last year, we're doing it all again this year. I know a lot of you have bought the beer boxes, and if you haven't, you can still get involved for the whole weekend. And it's great because this evening I'm joined with some of the people that have helped kind of make this happen, and they're going to also be involved over the course of the weekend as well. So I'll introduce them in a sec. Just a little bit first about me. My name is Robin. I run the AF Beer Club. You probably know that because you're tuning in now. So I run the AF Beer Club subscription boxes and the Instagram page and all that. And then I also have set up this beer festival, contacting the breweries, getting them involved. And then obviously now we've got Tom from Wise Bartender, and Matt and Zoe, who are also going to be helping me to kind of host the weekend, because it's quite a long weekend and it's just me. You'll get bored of hearing from me probably by tomorrow evening. So it's quite nice to sort of share it out a bit and hear some different voices, different experiences with the beers and the breweries. So let's start off with just hearing from the people I'm joining with this evening, and then oh yeah, before I start, if you are watching it live, you can join in with the chat. There's on YouTube there's the live chat box. Just click into there, and you're away. If you want to talk amongst each other, that's absolutely fine. If you want to ask any questions to any of us, that's fine as well. And over the course of the weekend, I think you'll just get more and more used to that. And yeah, by the end, I think by Sunday afternoon, everyone was just chatting. I don't even think anyone was watching the live streams. They're too busy chatting amongst themselves. So I'm all for that. So let's just hear a bit about you guys, and then we'll go through some of the beers and the breweries. So let's start off with Tom. This wouldn't be possible without you, Tom. I think we could probably done the live stream, but it just gives you that extra element where people can actually drink at home. So do you just want to introduce yourself, Tom?
Yeah, sure. Yeah, so I'm Tom. So I run Wise Bartender, and we're about 3.5 years old now. It's been sort of quite a journey. So the ethos of Wise Bartender is all about accessibility. So our aim is always about being able to buy a single bottle. So if you want to try one of these new beers or whatever, you can always buy it by this single bottle. So that's kind of our ethos and the reason for being, if you like. And we kind of started off from 17 drinks to now having in excess of 350. And I actually think it's the biggest collection in the world, but don't quote me on that just yet.
You get in trouble if you start saying things like that.
But I think but it's pretty big, and it's warranted the need for a high-tech warehouse system which we're installing at the moment, so we don't lose track of what's going in and out. So that's the level it's got to. But a big reason that it's expanded quite recently over the range over the last few months is kind of your fault, really, Robin, with introducing us to kind of new brewers specifically for the AF Beer Club, and then also a lot of these new beers have made their way into the box that you're going to be kind of walking your way through over the weekend. So it's a really exciting time anyway for alcohol-free beers, and an event like this can bring people together and just focus actually what is around, what's up and coming. It's just a great excuse to kind of explore what's going on.
Yeah, absolutely. I think you've hit the nail on the head there. Like, I think even we do the boxes every month, and you sell your bespoke packs and stuff. But even with this box, there's still so much new stuff that I haven't had before. That I asked this afternoon how many of them how many of people not had before. And loads of people, even like the people that love it, they still haven't had some of these ones. So yeah, I think it's just there's more coming out every day, but seemingly, and it's great that you can bring that to people. And like you say, this weekend should be a really good celebration of that. So yeah, you packed up all the boxes this week, didn't you? And everyone's got them, so that's fantastic.
Yeah, no, it was. It's been quite. Yeah, yesterday was the packing day, so we hope to get them out last week. But I guess in true brewing fashion, there was a few beers that sort of cut the deadline a bit fine. But yeah, that's fine. That's what happens in the beer industry. You know, some beers come off, some get a little bit delayed, and you've got to kind of go with it. And what we've actually got is 12 fantastic beers. That are going to, you know, some great talking points, some great, and it's what gives the stories behind them as well.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that's it, isn't it? And I think, yeah, and that'll be great this weekend to be able to hear a bit more about them rather than just sort of drinking them like we usually do. We can hear a bit more, and it gives an opportunity to hear that. So yeah, so like I said at the start, like a lot, I'll be doing most of the sessions, but then this year I've roped in a couple of sort of virtual drinking buddies. I'd describe them. Let's hear from Zoe first, because so you're I think I spoke to you at some point, maybe in the middle of last year. I think we kind of came onto each other's radars, and then yeah. Do you want to just sort of introduce yourself? And
yeah, sure thing. So I think Robin probably saw my prolific Untapped like posts being shared on Twitter. So I think it was that.
That's exactly what it was.
Yeah. So I love beer, like we all do, and I still drink, you know, regular kind of drink, and beer, but I've been on a real journey of AF beer over the last couple of years. So I downloaded the Drink Aware app a couple of years ago and was kind of like putting everything in there very honestly without actually tracking it. I was chucking it all in, and then genuinely just I wanted to know, like, was I flagging? You know, would my doctor go, hang on a minute, that's a bit much?
Yeah.
And yes, they would have done. So then last year, I thought I'm going to have a low risk year. I'm going to go get my units down. And one of the ways of doing that for me was really ramping up like my discovery. I love to try different types of beer. I love to try all beer. So I was like, right, let's see what's happening in the world of AF. And I seem to have like got on that at the right time, because it seems to have been like an absolute explosion in the quality and the variety, and people, I think breweries recognizing that there's like a huge untapped like market of people that love a beer, love a drink, but don't necessarily want to drink Coke all night if they're the designated driver, or, you know, like, and the science has come along with it, right? So science now allows us to extract the alcohol out and retain the flavour. And I've been seriously impressed by the quality and the passion. I think so. The AF Beer Awards were great. You know, the passion of the people brewing, just absolutely fantastic. So it's been a real journey. So I'm a beer lover. I write the local beer magazine here in Reading for my local camera, so I'm quite involved with that, and I love it. So I write about beer quite a bit, but AF has been a really enjoyable journey that I'm loving being on, and I'm learning loads. So I'm here for the ride.
Amazing.
Very excited for the weekend. Yeah,
that's awesome. I think that was what really I think was great about when I first came across you. I think, like you say, probably on Twitter, was how your background is with, you know, real ale, cask ale, and then it's then sort of you sort of started making that transition and being sort of really open to the idea of alcohol-free beer. And you yourself were celebrating it as well, which was great. And like you say, you were one of the judges as well on the AF Beer Awards that we had in December. So yeah, I think it's great. And the more sort of writers like yourself, people that are interested in the wider craft beer world, the more people from that world that can get involved in our little world. I mean, I see them as very similar, but I think if you're kind of big into your cask ale or your draft or your sort of craft beer, then maybe there's a bit of a barrier to overcome to get to alcohol free.
Yeah, like it totally is. And I think like you need some people that are really energetic and enthusiastic to help others join on the journey. Like, and it's like it like genuinely, my other half before would have been like, no, would have shunned it. but I've been so persistent. I'm like, no, seriously, try this and tell me you don't think that tastes like a beer that you could buy here, there, everywhere.
Exactly.
But you need those people to kind of be enthusiastic and bring others along. And then I think I've had people do that for me, and people on social media have been really important for that part of that journey too. So I want to spread the love, spread the love, get more people on the train. I'm all for
it. Definitely. Well, yeah, you're doing a great job of that. And talking of people sort of spreading the love and that's that energetic enthusiasm, then we'll have to speak to Matt next, who is also going to be hosting a couple of the sessions as well. Matt, do you want to just tell us a bit about your story, how you got to alcohol-free? Yeah,
of course. Cheers, Robin. Zoe, amen to all of the above. That was brilliant. So I started my journey with alcohol-free beers back in October, November 2018. So a few years ago now, and it was more forced due to medical reasons. Had a heart operation, drank a lot of beer, too much before, and that was my main worry. Afterwards, I knew I was going to have to give up alcohol, and I thought, well, how am I going to cope with this? So I started the exploration really, and started on Untapped and doing a bit of searching around really. And I think, like you said, Zoe, got in at the right time. And I was talking to Robin about this just a few days ago, and the scene wasn't huge, but it was growing, it was bubbling around then, and you started seeing a few craft options pop up. And I'm based in Amsterdam in the Netherlands, and it's a fairly solid scene over here. You've got your Adlers, you've got your alcohol-frees, you've got your Heinekens in the cafes and stuff, and the same was happening here as well, a few craft ones popping up. So I thought, right, well, I'll start an Instagram account. I was never an Instagram person before. I turned my nose up at it and social media in general, and suddenly I'm 30 hashtags here and there and everywhere, right? But yeah, I actually just really enjoyed it, and it took me down, it took me in connection with Tom quite early on, just exploring all the websites and what was out there, and God, it was just huge. And even now, you compare to where we are now to two and a bit years ago, and it's massive in comparison. So, who knows where it'll be in a few years' time. And already, we were talking the other day, Robin, about the difference in structure in terms of, and you'll probably talk a bit more about this anyway, but you've got alcohol-free breweries cropping up, but then the alcoholic breweries as well are really focusing on alcohol-free beers, which is super exciting. So yeah, great fun to be part of the awards as well at the turn of the year. That was a lot of fun and really, really good. And thank you so much for inviting me to be part of this as well. I'm really looking forward to a great weekend.
Nice one. No, you're welcome, Matt. Thank you. I think now what we'll do is we'll quickly go through sort of the lineup, what we're expecting through the weekend, and then if you guys want to shout out if you've got any good experiences with any of these breweries, and also we can talk a little bit about the beers as well. Obviously, we don't want to spoil it for the rest of the weekend, but we could just have a quick chat through. We can also talk about the sessions that you guys are going to host as well, just to give people an idea of when if they want to avoid me, just go into your session. So we're kicking off tomorrow at 7:00 with Malt Garden, who I think I'm probably pronouncing that wrong. They are, and Tom's got the beer there. They're a Polish craft brewery. As far as I can kind of gauge from people that I know who drink craft beer, they're one of the biggest breweries. So one of the coolest breweries in Poland. Their beers are in all the bottle shops that and they seem to be coming out with new and interesting stuff all the time. And we're so lucky to have that in. I don't know if anyone else has kind of got that at the moment on their stores. So Tom got that in time for the beer festival, which was fantastic. So we're going to speak to their brewer Lucas tomorrow. That'll kick off the festivities tomorrow evening. Have you guys had any experience with Malt Garden? Have you had any of their drinks? You've seen them around? for me, I was like really saw the kind of their branding is the same throughout all their beers. It's just different kind of color patterns. I think it's some sort of like dye technique, but it's just so striking. And it'd be really interesting to hear from those guys.
I didn't know a lot about them, to be honest, before, and I came across this beer, and I spoiler alert. You should look forward to this one. It's what a kickoff.
Oh yeah, I mean,
special beer, isn't it?
Yeah, it's amazing, isn't it? I think you're right. It would have been great to just spoken to them anyway. A Polish brewery coming in doing this, and then but also the fact that the beer is so fantastic as well. That's really exciting.
I think it's. I'm hoping there's a bit more, because they do a few alcohol-free offerings. I'm hoping that there might be a few more coming across and becoming available as well.
Hopefully, I mean, my kind of love of Polish beer it goes back to a holiday a couple of years ago, and I just can't stop talking about it. Me and Tom have been trying to get some things in place, so hopefully we'll see some more Polish beer cropping up in the future. And then at 8 o'clock tomorrow, so each session will probably be about 20-25 minutes. It says an hour on the schedule, but there's no way we're going to talk to them for an hour. We'll all get bored. So there's a break in between each one, and it's just on the hour. Keep it easy to follow. So at 8 o'clock, it's the session with Mick Keller, and Zoe's going to be hosting that one. Zoe, what's your kind of experience with Mick Keller in the past?
I'm so excited to be given this one to look after. So I'm a big fan of McKellar. The last trip I took before lockdown one was to Copenhagen, and like literally 4 weeks before lockdown. So it was a bit touch and go at the time whether I should go, but I thought, sod it, I'm going. So I went, and I had an amazing time. I really love McKellar, but I didn't appreciate like how much AF beer that they how much kind of time and resource they put into it. So I think last year during the AF Beer Awards, I picked the Limbo Raspberry as my beer of the year, like my international AF beer of the year. Loved it. So very excited to see the Riesling being kind of discussed tomorrow, because I'm a big fan of it. It's amazing, such an amazing beer. So really excited, and I get to speak to Joe, who has worked before at a local brewery. So I think we might have crossed paths before, but I'll find out tomorrow, won't I? But, really excited. Yeah,
that's quite cool. Small world. He mentioned you. When I was talking to them. So that's awesome. I love those guys as well. Just the best, aren't they? And then at 9 o'clock, it is a session with Tiny Rebel, and Matt's going to be hosting that one tomorrow night. Have you had any experience with Tiny Rebel in the past, Matt? Do you get the beers over in Amsterdam, or?
Yeah, you know what, my first, obviously, so many people know Tiny Rebel, right? Through the branding, through their fun sort of their fun can art, and just their story as well. It's the checkered story, or whatever you want to call it as well. I think they're going to be really fun to talk to. My first, obviously, they brought out this AF collab with Big Drop, which was probably one of the first Tiny Rebel drinks I actually tried, which wasn't that long ago. And I had to buy the full 7-year birthday pack, and the other 6 just went to friends, basically. And I enjoyed this vanilla chocolate mocha stout, and from then on it was just waiting for that NA. And then with this new pack, it's just been really nice to see.
We've got the rhubarb and custard in the box for people to drink at home. So it's I think it was going to be the Club Tropicana, but I think it's actually quite good that we've got the rhubarb and custard. It mixes up the box a bit more. There's a lot of sort of pale ales and IPAs in general in the AF market, so it's nice to offer a sour. How's that been going down, Tom, with customers, the sour?
I have to say, all 4, because obviously they had the Club Tropicana sort of a few months ahead of the other 3, but all 4 from January would just fly in, and very quickly they ran out of the Party Hard, and then it was was it called Wake Up Call? No, it was a stout, wasn't it?
Cakes, space cake.
That's it. Yeah. So unfortunately, I think everyone got taken by surprise by the demand for them, but actually it's no surprise really. So we ended up with some 4-packs that were left over, really neatly gift boxed, and we've just come towards the end of them. But I think I'd like to hope that there's lots more in the pipeline, even if it's just bringing those 4 back. So 4 of those, because they were so exciting. I think people they probably tried them, and that's about it. There's lots of people buying kind of like 1s, 2s, or 6-packs. I'm sure if they became available again, people are going to be buying like slabs of them. So
I think that's it. And I think they're big enough to kind of do it now. So it's really. Matt will be speaking to Gaz, who's the co-founder of Tiny Red Bull. So it's really great to hear their story. Really nice guy. And so that'll be the Friday night. And then on the Saturday, starting at 1:00 is with Beavertown. So I'll be hosting that session with Beavertown, and they've got that the Laser Crush, which is their one AF beer that they brought out, I think, towards the end of last year. I think it's a bit of a blur now. I mean, when it came out, I've got the glass here. That's like, I bought the glass with the beer. I was just so excited to see it. But yeah, they're kind of pretty big deal in the craft beer world. I'm looking forward to talking to them. I don't know a lot about them really. I remember going to their like brew pubs when they first started out, and then they've blown up. But it's a great beer, brewed in Belgium. So with the Mikkeller beer. So be interested to hear a bit about that. And then after that at 2:00 is Ridgeside, and that's the beer I'm drinking now. I'm drinking the Nothing But the Rain now. But in the pack we've got the it's Light and Sound, I think it's called, which is also lovely. And again, I'm not that familiar with those guys. I know they're based not far from me, up in Leeds. And again, a bit like with Malt Garden and actually with all the breweries you mentioned so far, they're big names in the craft beer world. Like, I think if you're into your beer, you're going to kind of recognize the Ridgeside branding and the logo. They do the beer festivals and stuff like that. So that's really exciting as well.
I think they're quite exciting. They're willing to have a go at things, aren't they? With the AF world, they're Nothing But the Rain was on its 7th iteration now. And each one's quite different, isn't it? And it's just great that they're having fun with that. And I think they brought out a sour. Previously, they've obviously got this hazy IPA. And they're doing some low stuff as well, some sort of 2% stuff that unfortunately we can't sell, but actually we've tried a couple of them. They're really good.
They seem to be right across the board. They do they do sort of like session table beers, and then the higher stuff as well, and then like you said, down. Their commitment to alcohol free. It's just, if every brewery could do that, like every brewery could go right. Every kind of, we're just going to put it on our schedule, and every 2 to 3 months, going to bring out a new alcohol free beer and see how it goes, and mix it up every time. Like it's incredible. For my money, they're probably the most exciting British brewer, like alcohol brewer that are brewing AF. I'm really looking forward to talking to them. At 3:00, it's me again. So I think I've got 4 back-to-back tomorrow. So and then so at 3:00, it's Nittenauer. Again, I don't know whether I'm pronouncing that correctly. And they're from Germany. Tom, you probably know a little bit more about them than I do. I look forward to talking to them. But
they've got three styles. They're 3 quite different alcohol-free beers, but they're knockout beers, all of them. We were hoping to get the wit in the box, but you can blame customs that the pallets landed today. It's just like, but so they're a day away from the wit. But we put the IPA, the Le Chauffeur, in there, and that is a fantastic IPA. It's like there's something a little bit savoury in it, like. the only trouble is that we only put one bottle in the box, and I don't think I've been able to go without having 2 bottles in one go, because you just keep going with it. And yeah, the coffee porter. Okay, the weather's warming up a bit now. Well, hopefully it will be. But that's a fantastic beer, especially with a bit of chocolate. You know, a cold evening with a bit of chocolate, and that porter is lovely. But I'm so pleased we got them back in stock. Reminds me, I got to put them back in stock on the website in a bit as well. So I'll do that after this.
Yeah, those beers have been kind of doing the rounds for a while. They're one of the, I think they're one of the first German. I can't remember what I have to look it up. One of the first German alcohol-free like range of beers, I think. And I remember with the very first sort of couple of months of the AF Beer Club, we had that. One of the beers in there as well. So yeah, they're fantastic. And again, a bit similar to the Ridge Side, like having like more than one, not just offering like the one beer that they feel like they have to do. Like they've done 3 and they're all really good. So Matt, do you know that those guys too? Have you had their beers?
Yeah, they're great. I agree with Tom. That Lola Porter is just exceptional. Yeah, I think we had an argument about whether or not it should be straight out the fridge or not, but that was the only argument we had about it. Yeah, they're really good. I agree again with the chauffeur. There's something savoury about it. I think they put coriander in both that and the wit as well, right? Or they've got some herbs in there. It's really, really interesting. I think everyone's going to really enjoy that. Tom's right. He should have put 2 in.
But yeah, just
there though, huh?
Yeah, leave them wanting more. I think just looking at those first sort of 6, like the quality of beer there is so good. I mean it keeps getting good as well. That's not it. No, it doesn't go down from there. And then at 4:00 tomorrow is a really exciting opportunity to talk to Bristol Beer Factory, who similarly to Beavertown, they brought out a beer towards the end of last year, but their beer is done with a sort of collaboration with a kind of mental health charity, I guess. It's called Talk Club, and I think they're based in Bristol as well. So the idea of them brewing a beer with this charity, and we're going to be joined from somebody from the brewery and somebody from Talk Club. So we'll be able to hear the kind of whole story behind that beer, which will be really interesting. And again, like they're a brewery that have been around for a while, recognizable beers. Zoe, I'm sure you've come across their beers in your sort of camera times.
Yeah, definitely. And I was very fortunate. I used to live in Bristol like 6 years ago. Reading's my hometown, but I lived in Bristol for a couple of years, and I lived on the street over from Bristol Beer Factory. So like genuinely, like I lived in Southville, and the Southville hop, I remember trying it within a week or so of moving to Bristol and loving it. And they do a 5% stout, I think, milk stout, that I still think is one of the best milk stouts that around.
Wow.
And if I see it, I'll always go for it. So yeah, I really respect them actually. And they I think one of the things I really like about them is, you know, they've well established, like you said, they've been around for a while. They've kind of consistently done their thing while craft beer around them has just exploded. But they haven't shied away from their passion. They're really passionate about cask. And I really was impressed in my AF beer box last month to see the clear head bottle in there. Because I haven't tried it yet. I'm saving it, but I'm really excited to try it because I really respect Bristol Beer Factory. I think they do a great job.
Yeah, definitely. To be honest, like you said, I was quite surprised when I saw their alcohol-free option, because, like, they're one of the ones I probably would have thought would have been last to it, based on. I mean, they do exciting stuff and they try new things, but like you say, they're steeped in this sort of tradition, cask ale. All their bottles are kind of uniform bottles, and so it was amazing to see that, and it's a great beer as well. So yeah, that'd be great. And then the last one on the Saturday is with Big Drop, who I'm sure everybody has heard of. And Tom's got the beer there. It's a brand new one. It's only been out a couple of weeks, I think. And that is the Wild Track American Pale Ale. Lovely colours on the can as well. I think it's probably maybe their most striking of branding. But so that session tomorrow is going to be hosted by Matt, isn't it? That is right, isn't it? Okay. You were looking at me like I was saying something that I was going to get wrong.
Well, you got the day wrong, but yeah.
I say Saturday, isn't it? Yeah. Okay, yeah. Saturday at 5 o'clock. It's a very confusing one because it's Saturday 5 o'clock UK time, which is great for everybody who's watching and drinking at home. But for Matt, that means it's not 5 o'clock for you, is it?
It's 6 p.m. for me. Yeah.
It's 6 o'clock for you, and then for I think we're talking to the man on the ground in Chicago. So God knows what time it is for him. He's going to have to work.
Maybe? Yeah.
11.
I think it's 11 a.m.
Hopefully, he's going to work it out, and everyone will be on at the same time. But for us in the UK, it's 5. So. Yeah, so that's going to be really interesting. We'll hear about the Big Drop's expansion into America. We'll also hear from their ambassador in the UK as well. So we'll get kind of both sides of the pond, and be really really interesting to hear how they're getting on in the States and how that's going. I know they had a couple of hiccups to start off with, but So Matt will be hosting that session. On Sunday, kind of early evening, 5 o'clock. So that's Saturday, and then Sunday we're back for the third day. Now you know why I didn't want to do it all by myself. It's a long weekend. The Sunday is starting again at 1. So and then that's with Hamilton, which I always thought they were called Hamilton because they're based in Hamilton in North London, but they're founder is called Lee Hamilton. So my mind was completely blown. I don't know whether it's a coincidence. I'm going to find out on Sunday. But like, honestly, it just took me, but I couldn't believe it. Again, they're a brewery that at the start of sort of the London UK craft beer boom, they were right on it, like finger on the pulse. I remember their original Crunch beer was absolutely blew me away. I loved it. Every opportunity I could get to have it, I would have it. And now they've obviously got the AF version of the Crunch, which is fantastic. Have you guys had any experience with them before, either in the sort of alcohol world or Zoe, go on.
The Crunches, both. They're incredible, aren't they? Like I really loved the original Crunch, like yourself, but the AF one, which I only tried because of the AF Beer Club for the first time last year, like absolutely just amazing, like just absolutely amazing. Like so I think they're great. I think what they do is great, but that beer, I still think about it. Probably like how you felt about the original Crunch, right? I still I think you get the flashes. I'm like, I really need to get more of that. Yeah, it's really good.
Yes, it is great, and I couldn't believe when you build it up in your head, like especially I haven't had it for probably 3 years, and then when it came out, I built it up in my head, and then when I eventually came into drinking it, just brilliant, love it. Has that been a good seller as well, Tom?
Yeah, I really admire Hamilton Brewery actually for kind of their entry into the AF world, because they brought out the Z Pale Ale, which is nice enough Pale Ale, but it didn't make any shockwaves. It was just kind of a steady beer, and I think a lot of breweries could have looked at it and thought, well, we haven't made a huge impact, but actually no, they've gone back and they've looked at what what the best selling core beers are and come out with like an absolute like worldy of a beer, really. I think just like you guys said, we've tried the alcoholic one before, and actually we put the two side by side and did a bit of a comparison. And actually, when you go back to the alcoholic one, actually what a lot of you taste in there is you can taste the alcohol. Like the difference is the alcohol, and that is it. And actually we were going to the alcohol free one all of a sudden. It's a real fair play to them. They brought out an absolute great beer there. It's fantastic.
It's great, and looking forward to hearing, because I hear they've got more stuff in the works as well coming out, so be good to hear from them. And then following that at 2 o'clock is the Birmingham Brewing Company, which up until sort of October, November last year, I don't even think I'd heard of, and I felt quite ignorant, really, because as soon as I looked them up, I realised that they're actually like quite a big. Because I'm not really in the craft beer world, I miss when the new kind of breweries start to get bigger, and but I couldn't believe that how kind of established they were, yeah. So we'd be talking to Birmingham Brewing Company after kind of saying that there's nothing going on in the Midlands alcohol-free wise for a while. These guys came out and they've released their first alcohol-free beer, and that session will be with Zoe. So do you know them, Zoe, at all? Have I just been really naive and not knowing who they are?
No. If I'm honest with you, like no, like I double checked my Untapped and I've never had anything by them. So
okay.
I had a look on their website and stuff too, and I was like, oh, they've been around since 2016. Like I feel like
I wonder if they're just.
Yeah.
I wonder if they're quite local, or whether they're kind of, they've built quite a following locally, and it hasn't really gone beyond that. Yeah.
And that's the thing. I think sometimes you can assume that everyone else knows the breweries you do, but they don't necessarily. And but what I like, I've had a good old read on their website and stuff, and all of their beers are gluten-free, they're all vegan, they're socially conscious as a business, so great principles, and yeah, this is their first AF like venture. So really, as you said, like at the beginning, really nice to see quite established breweries saying, right, do you know what, actually we need to kind of pull our socks up here a bit and show and produce an AF beer. So yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing, you know, what that's all about.
Yeah, excellent. And following on from that is well, we've been talking about beer the whole time, and like again, like this session is with Cloudwater soda. So I guess the name Cloudwater will be familiar with most people. The brewery in Manchester, one of the kind of leading craft breweries in the country, and then a couple of, I guess probably 18 months ago, they started to they set up a kind of a new arm of their brewery, which was sodas. So this is not a beer. Considering it's the AF Beer Club, it's the beer festival, it's not a beer, but it is, you know, it's the closest thing you can get to a beer without being a beer. I think it's made by Cloudwater, as I say, but it's a soda. And yeah, I'm really looking forward to speaking to these guys. Anya, who is their ambassador, she's heavily involved in Club Soda as well. So she'll be talking to me on Sunday afternoon. And yeah, I think as somebody who used to really like drinking Cloudwater in my drinking days, this was, although I would have loved for them to have made an AF beer, it's still quite nice to be able to have a product from that brewery. And it's also nice to have a break from beer. And I think by Sunday afternoon, people are probably going to be like, maybe a bit sick of it, and then it's quite nice to have a nice fruity soda, but it does have the hops in as well, so that's how it all kind of ties together.
What flavour is that one? What flavour is that one, Robin?
I think it's rhubarb and raspberry. Tom will have to confirm that, I think.
Yeah, it's rhubarb and raspberry, and I can't remember the hop. I haven't actually tried it yet myself, so it's one I'm saving. But they made it in honor of International Women's Day, so there's only a limited run. So I think pretty much the only stock we've got has gone in these boxes, and that's the same for the big drop as well. So there's some like real exclusive drinks in this box, and Cloudwater is one of them, and it's really interesting what they're doing, isn't it, mixing things up. Yeah,
and like their drinks, you know, they're soda, but they are quite like thick and fruity. They've done a few others before using sort of mango, but all of them have the hops in. So I think they kind of say like the hops that they've kind of got from the brewery, and then they incorporate into their own recipes. So yeah, that's really exciting. And yeah, and then on the 4 o'clock, this is the last session, final session, and it's an exciting one as well. It's with Mash Gang, and I'm wearing their t-shirt today. Well, this has a whole story behind it, and we won't go into it now because those guys will be able to tell it so much better than we will. So this is a brand new beer, literally picked up from the brewery 3 days ago, I think.
Tuesday it landed.
Tuesday, and now it's in at people's houses in the house. I don't know how that's happened, but thanks to Tom and thanks to the guys at Mash Gang, they've managed to make it work. And yeah, so those guys have been doing stuff for the last probably, I think they said 6 months, which seems crazy that it's only been that long. And they've already released a whole load of beers. And then this is the newest one, New England IPA. And yeah, they've got a whole story. There's a few of them. I have no idea who's going to come on and talk to me on Sunday. It could be a few of them. It could be one of them. I almost feel like they're a bit like, I don't know, like a bit of an enigma. Like they could almost send somebody that's not even part of it, like as like a PR stunt.
It's
like,
just a bot. It's just a bot that runs their account, you know.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. That's it. It's not even a brewery. It's not even beer. It's just it's just all made up. You're gonna have an empty can. It's so yeah, it'd be interesting to speak to them and just hear a bit about them. But I think by Sunday afternoon, it's a really good one to close it off. Really fun guys, really passionate about alcohol-free beer and the beer sector as a whole. Tom, what's your kind of experience being with them, apart from last minute chucking it into the box on Wednesday morning?
Hey, look, it happens to breweries all the time, doesn't it? Like, the delays and stuff, but it's what makes it exciting. Yeah, look, I think they have great fun. I think you just got to watch their Instagram page, haven't you? They have great fun, kind of experimenting, see what they can come up with, and I think they don't mind talking about when things go wrong and what they learned from it, and and that's all part of the journey and part of the story, isn't it? And then you hang on for when the beers are able to be released. So it's great to have the NEPA. I've only sort of literally had a quick swig when it first landed. So I need to sit down properly, get it out of the fridge and sit down and have a proper try of it. But it's absolutely ram-packed full of hops. So 1, 2, 3, 7 different types of hops in there.
Yeah, that sounds about right.
Yeah. We haven't even done the pricing on this product yet, so I don't know what it's going to be like.
Yeah, I think with that's another great thing. It's so exciting about this weekend is there's stuff that we haven't even had that is so fresh that you haven't had a chance to open it yet, and I think it's really lovely to bring people into that process. Like last month with the AF Beer Club boxes, we had those 2 new Stride beers, which were literally brand new, and people were kind of brought into that kind of like the sampling process of it, like where you're getting something before it's even available online, and I think that's obviously, as long as it tastes all right. But it's I think it's great to sort of bring people in on that. And we've got a whole host of beers this weekend.
I always love it when I go to tap something in on Untapped and the only other person that's tapped it in is you, Robin. The other person I know.
That happens sometimes. Although I don't do it for all of them because I don't want to be the first one and put like 1 star. So it's so that's kind of the weekend. I've got 12 sessions over the 3 days. All of the sessions will be up straight after. Just take pictures of your beers, share them with me, share them with Zoe and Matt and Tom as well with their sessions. I'm sure they'd love to hear from you. Talk in the chat. And just get involved, and let's make it another really fun celebration of beer, and hopefully we'll be able to do this in person for the next one. Thanks again guys for coming on, and thank you for your whole involvement this weekend, and let's hope and then on Sunday night, everyone can do their beer of the festival. So after you've tasted all the beers, there's a link that's been sent out to everyone, and you can rate your top 3. So just like you would at a normal beer festival, you can rate your 1, 2, and 3 from the 12, and then I'll announce the kind of beer of the year or beer of the festival at some point next week. So that's another little fun thing people can get involved with. Makes it a bit more like a real beer festival as well. And then like I say, hopefully then this is just laying the foundations for something big and in person at some point in the future. So yeah, thanks again, guys. Thank you so much for this evening, and yeah, I look forward to seeing you again over the weekend.
Right, and thank you, Robin, for organising this. Like you've kind of worked tirelessly to line all of this up. So no, thank you, Robin.
You're welcome.
Yeah.
Too right.
Brilliant.
Cheers,
Cheers, guys. Thank you. Have a nice evening.
Bye.
Take care.